Imagine the inside of your head right now. Is it a straight line? Or is it a scribbled, chaotic mess of knots and loops? If you are like 99% of people, your mind looks like a ball of tangled yarn. You are constantly replaying the past, stressing about the future, and confusing worrying with thinking. And here is the brutal truth that kicks off this journey. That mess in your head, it's not just annoying. It is costing you money. It is ruining your relationships, and it is stealing your happiness. You think you are using your brain, but actually, your brain is using you. Today, we are going to fix that. We're going to untangle the knot. We're going to learn to think straight. Let's be honest. We live in a world designed to keep you confused. You have a million decisions to make every day. Should I take that job? Should I break up with my partner? Why did I say that stupid thing 5 years ago? What if the economy crashes? Most people spend their entire lives trapped in what Darius Foroux calls useless thinking. You spend hours in your head, but your life doesn't change. You aren't solving problems, you're just suffering in imagination. If you don't learn to control this machine between your ears, you will always be a slave to your emotions. You will be happy one day and miserable the next, without knowing why. You will make decisions based on fear instead of facts. But if you master this, you stop being a leaf blowing in the wind. You become the pilot. You gain inner calm, better focus, and the ability to get what you actually want out of life. But here is the wild part. You have been told that thinking is the hardest work there is. You have been told you need to be smarter, read more, and analyze deeper. This book says, stop it. The secret isn't to think more. It's to think less. It's about filtering out the 99% of garbage so you can focus on the 1% that actually moves the needle. It's about being a pragmatist in a world of dreamers and worriers. We are going to walk through exactly how to do this, chapter by chapter. Chapter 1. The chaos versus the line. You become what you think about all day long. If your thoughts are a mess, your life will be a mess. The book opens with a visual. Picture a giant, messy scribble on the left. That's your mind on autopilot, confused, emotional, reactive. Now picture a straight arrow on the right. That is thinking straight. The goal is to move from the scribble to the line, to clear the fog and see the obvious solution. We often believe our mental state is biological or permanent. I'm just an anxious person, we say. But William James, the father of American psychology, proved this wrong. He realized that while we can't control our consciousness, thoughts will always pop up. We have the free will to choose which thoughts we sustain. You are the gatekeeper. You can't stop an intruder from knocking on your door, but you definitely don't have to let him in and make him dinner. Darius shares a story about moving to London. He had it all planned out. He packed his stuff, drove to the UK, and was ready to move into a new apartment. Then, the day before the move, the landlady canceled. Darius panicked. He sat in a hotel room with his parents, blaming himself, spiraling into what-ifs, and feeling like an idiot. His mind was the scribble. He wasted 24 hours suffering. Finally, he decided to think straight. What was the straight line? He needed a bed. He went on Airbnb. He booked a place. Problem solved. The panic added zero value. The solution took 10 minutes. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You are addicted to the drama in your own head. You spend hours analyzing problems that have simple solutions because part of you likes the chaos. You mistake worrying for caring. It's not caring, it's wasting time. Visualize the arrow. The next time you feel overwhelmed, close your eyes. Picture that messy scribble. Acknowledge that is where you are. Then, picture a straight line. Ask yourself, what is the one useful step I can take right now? Do that step. Ignore everything else. But how do you know which thoughts are useful and which ones are garbage? You need a filter. Chapter 2. Useful versus useless thoughts. 99% of your thoughts are trash. You need to take out the garbage. Most thinking is actually just memory replay or future fantasy. Neither of those solve problems. To think straight, you must strictly categorize your thoughts into useful and useless. This comes down to the circle of control. Useful thoughts are about things inside your control: your actions, your desires, your words. Useless thoughts are about things outside your control: the past, the future, the economy, what your boss thinks of you. If you cannot change it, thinking about it is technically irrational. It burns glucose in your brain for zero return on investment. Think about the last time you lay in bed, awake at 2 a.m. What if I get fired? Does she really love me? Why did I say that awkward thing at the party? Darius lists these out. What is the practical use of these thoughts? There is no answer. They serve no purpose. They are just noise. Compare that to, how can I solve this specific problem at work tomorrow? That is a useful thought. It leads to action. If you are stressed, it is because you are trying to control the uncontrollable. You are playing God, thinking that if you worry hard enough, you can change the outcome. You can't. You are just making yourself sick. Catch yourself worrying. Stop. Ask, can I do something about this right now? If the answer is yes, do it or schedule it. If the answer is no, visualize putting that thought in a trash can and setting it on fire. It is useless. Okay, so you're focusing on what you can control. But what if your brain is lying to you? Chapter 3. Don't trust your mind. Your brain is a masterful liar. It will fabricate facts just to keep you comfortable. We all think we are logical. We aren't. We are full of cognitive biases, systematic errors in thinking. To think straight, you have to stop trusting your gut beliefs and start looking at cold, hard facts. One major glitch is the confirmation bias. If you believe you are a failure, your brain will scan your entire day looking for evidence that you are a failure, and it will ignore all the evidence that you succeeded. Another is the attentional bias. Your life becomes what you pay attention to. If you focus on negativity, your reality becomes negative. Your mind filters reality to fit your narrative. You are hallucinating your own life. Let's look at decision-making. You assume, if I ask for a raise, my boss will fire me. Have you asked everyone? No. Darius argues we make life-altering decisions based on assumptions, opinions, and cliches, rather than statistics, research, or testing. You are probably wrong about the things you are most certain about. Your intuition is often just your fear wearing a mask. Stop worshiping your feelings. Feelings are real, but they aren't always true. Fact-check yourself. When you are upset or scared, write down the thought, my partner is losing interest in me. Next to it, write fact or assumption. Unless they said the words, I am losing interest, it is an assumption. Treat it like a rumor, not the news. So you check the facts. But sometimes you miss the tiny details, and that can cost you a fortune. Chapter 4. The $150,000 mistake. Dates matter. Don't sweat the small stuff is terrible advice. The devil is in the details. Pragmatic thinking isn't just about big concepts. It's about execution. Thinking straight means slowing down enough to get the details right. Laziness in thought leads to disaster in reality. We often rush because of the familiarity heuristic. We think we know what we're doing, so we go on autopilot. We type the first letter of a name in an email and hit enter. We skim the contract. This is fast thinking, and it is dangerous. Straight thinking requires you to slow down and verify. Darius shares a painful personal story. He was working on a consulting deal worth $150,000. He had two contacts named Wim. One was a loyal client, Wim A. One was a prospect, Wim B. He gave Wim A a special discount rate. He wrote up the contract. He was lazy. He auto-filled the email address. He sent the discounted contract to Wim B. Wim B saw the lower price given to someone else, got offended, and canceled the entire deal. A tiny, split-second lack of focus cost Darius $150,000. If you don't have the patience to do it right, you must have the time to do it over, or the money to pay for the mistake. Impatience is a symptom of a cluttered mind. A clear mind takes the extra second to double-check. For any decision involving money, reputation, or relationships, force a pause. Do not hit send immediately. Do not sign immediately. Sleep on it, or at least wait 60 seconds. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. We've covered how to think. Now let's talk about how to make decisions. And please, burn your pros and cons list. Chapter 5. Be unconventional. Conventional thinking gives you conventional results. If you want a different life, you need a different method. Most people use the Benjamin Franklin method for decisions, a pros and cons list. Darius argues this is binary thinking. It limits you to this or that. Thinking straight means thinking outside the box, literally stepping out of the maze to see the exit. When you make a pros-cons list for a breakup, you are trying to use logic on an emotional problem. Pro, we share rent. Con, I am miserable. The list doesn't work because one factor usually outweighs everything else. The conventional mind thinks in scarcity. I must choose A or B. The straight-thinking mind thinks in abundance. How can I have A and B? Darius wanted to start a business, but he also needed money. Conventional wisdom. Quit your job and go all in. Burn the boats. Pros-cons list. Quit job equals freedom but risk. Keep job equals money but no time. He felt stuck. Then he thought straight. He realized he didn't have to choose. He kept his job to pay the bills and built his business in the evenings and weekends. He rejected the binary choice. He did both until the business was big enough to stand alone. Everyone is doing it is usually a sign that you shouldn't be doing it. If you follow the herd, you walk into the slaughterhouse. Stop looking for the standard path. There is no standard path for your specific life. The third option. Whenever you feel stuck between option A and option B, force yourself to create option C. Option C is usually the answer. It's the creative compromise that the lazy brain didn't want to look for. Finally, we reach the ultimate goal. What is the point of all this thinking? Look, if you are just listening to this to get smarter, you are missing the point. This isn't about IQ. It's not about winning arguments. If you master your mind, you don't just get success. You get something worth way more than money. You get inner calm. Imagine walking through a crisis, a breakup, a firing, a health scare, without your heart racing. Imagine watching your thoughts float by like clouds, without getting swept away by the storm. That is what we are building here. Let's bring it home. The philosophy driving this entire book is pragmatism. This isn't boring philosophy from a dusty library. This is street philosophy. It was championed by William James, who suffered from severe depression and panic attacks. He didn't cure himself with theory, he cured himself by realizing he had the power to choose his thoughts. Here is what pragmatism actually means in real life. It asks one question. Is this useful? Does believing in God make you a better person? Then it's true for you. Does worrying about the news help you pay rent? No? Then it's useless. Drop it. The true is that which works. If a thought doesn't pay rent in your life, evict it. That is the essence of thinking straight. If that stings a little, good. It means it's true for you. You say you want to change, but you keep consuming information without doing anything. Darius says, action greater than thinking. You can read 10 books on fitness, but doing 10 push-ups is infinitely more valuable. If you are overthinking, you are underacting. And stop looking back. You don't regret what you did in life. You regret what you didn't do. Every minute you spend reliving the past is a minute you steal from your own future. You will never use that old iPhone in your drawer. You will never edit that video footage from 2010. Let it go. So, where does this leave us? We started with a scribble, a mind full of chaos, anxiety, and useless noise. We ended with a straight line, clarity, focus, and action. Your mind is a tool. If you don't control it, it controls you. And a mind left uncontrolled is a cruel master. From Think Straight, Here are 5 things you can start doing today. 1. Draw your thoughts. When you are overwhelmed, get a pen. Draw the problem. It forces your brain to switch from panic mode to structure mode. 2. The 99% rule. Ignore 99% of what you think. Only pay attention to the 1% that solves a problem or internalizes useful knowledge. 3. Stop asking why. Why did this happen to me? Why is he like that? It doesn't matter. Ask how. How do I fix this? How do I move forward? 4. Use a system. Don't rely on willpower. Create rules. I exercise for 30 minutes daily. I save 10% of my income. Take the thinking out of the equation. 5. Consume less, create more. Stop hoarding information. Read 1 book and apply it, rather than reading 10 books and forgetting them. You have the power to decide what you think. And because you become what you think, you have the power to decide who you become. So, straighten out the line and go live your life. If this summary helped you clear the fog, you're in the right place. We break down the most powerful books in the world to help you build a stronger mind. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a life-changing idea. See you in the next one.